What's up, everyone? Happy new comic book day. And you're probably wondering, why are we so close to your face? And why are you moving around like you are? Well, I am just sick and tired of doing the same old comic book review video where I sit down in my chair and I do my thing. So, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to get close. Maybe I'll get far. I don't know. But we're going to switch it up and we're going to have some fun. This week, I had 12 books in total to review. Not all of them were good, guys. I think I have maybe like 4, maybe 5 if I push it a little bit. So we're going to talk about why this week sucked, why the books were good, and yeah, we're just going to jump right into it right after this. Let's do it. What's up, comic book fans? My name is Bruce Moreau.
And I am Stephanie.
What's up, comic book fans? My name is Bruce Moreau, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to another episode of Comic Book Reviews, my weekly series where I give you my thoughts in my reviews on the comic books that I picked up at my local comic book shop, and this week was March 11th, 2020. And guys, I just want to take 2 seconds and say happy 37th birthday, little bro. I hope it was a good one, and I hope you picked up some comics because, you know, I do have a comic book channel, and I tell you all about the good comic books that you need to be picking up. So hopefully you did what I said, and you did it. But before we get into the reviews, let's talk about the 3 things that I would like you to do. Number 1, check to see if you're subscribed. If you're not, do me a huge favor and get yourself subscribed to the channel. It's well worth it. And while you're at it, hit that bell notification so that way you guys are notified each time I upload new content, and also when I go live. And I go live Friday nights with my amazing, beautiful, sexy, amazing girlfriend Stephanie, and on Sundays, and I usually go on, well, not every Sunday, but most Sundays, where I dig through some of my old comic books, looking for keys, looking for books to slab, and yeah, just talk about comic books. That's a good time. Alright, with that all out of the way, let's jump into the reviews. And I think I'm going to start on the floor because that's where these books belong, on the floor, because they were not good. Alright guys, I'll see you in a second. Alright guys, I am down here on my floor. And you're probably wondering, Bruce, why the hell are you sitting on the floor? And I'll tell you guys, because these next 3 books, all X-Men books, kind of stunk, and they belong down here on the floor. And I'm sorry for all those people who love all these X titles, but guys, I was enjoying them for a while and now I'm just not. So let's talk about why I'm not enjoying them. Let's do it. All right, first up we have X-Men number 8. This is written by Jonathan Hickman and art by Mahmud Asrar. All right, first up, Muhammad's art was definitely the highlight of this book. It was really good. I can't tell you if I've seen his art before or not, but here's a little glimpse. It was good. It was definitely the highlight of this book. How he drew all the characters was excellent. It was really, really good. But then let's get into the story. And the story was just silly. There was not a lot of meaning or information behind the story. Some of the new X-Men came back from their space adventure and they had this egg. And this egg was a brood egg. And these brood could smell it from galaxies away and they just want the egg. And so all these brood came to Earth and they started fighting the X-Men for this egg. And hopefully this is just a small part of a much bigger story that Jonathan Hickman is telling. And this is all going to make sense. And this silly story is not going to be silly anymore. It's going to be like a little part to something really big and awesome. But overall, there was no reason to really care about this. There wasn't. It was just kind of silly and dumb. The other highlights of this book was that we get to see Idie and Brew, which we really haven't seen a lot of, especially since I think the last time I really remember reading them was Wolverine in the X-Men when he was running the whole mutant school. But other than that, I really haven't seen them, and I really enjoyed those 2 characters. And there was a really cool moment with Magic and Cyclops. But other than that, I don't know. This book really wasn't that good. I am going to give it a 6.5 because of the art and the overall hope. The hope that this story is going to mean a lot more in the future. But it's like holding on to a lot of hope, hoping that there's going to be more. And this is a good jumping in point. It's actually not a bad jumping in point if you are a new reader and you haven't picked up X-Men yet. It's really not a bad time, but it's really not that good of an issue to be jumping into. But that's in my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below. Did you guys agree that this kind of issue really wasn't that good? I feel like I should slink down even more on the floor to show you how disappointed I am with this book. because there really was. All right, next up we have Cable #1. This is written by Gerry, Duggan, and art by Phil Noto. And again, the art was the highlight of this book. Phil Noto's art was excellent. And guys, also the Scotty Young cover was pretty sweet, especially when I saw it in person. I'm like, all right, cover B it is. Let's do it. But yeah, guys, overall, the story was just kind of, I don't know. What I have down on my notes was that it was childish. And it really was. There was no big emotional hook. There was no big moment that really made you care about what was happening. Cable ends up pulling some kind of magical sword out of this demon or monster's foot. And this sword, which turns out belonged to a space knight from a long, long time ago. And when he pulls said sword out of said monster's foot, it activates some some robots that have been hibernating for a long, long time. And that's really all this story was. Spoiler, I am sorry, but guys, this book was really not that good. And I'm hugely disappointed because I was hoping that this book was going to be awesome. And I was going to be so excited to pick up the next issues. But this is now on a 3 to 5 issue timetable. If it doesn't get any better within that, it's getting cut. Because I have just too many books going on, and these X-Men books have been disappointing and more disappointing as they go. I give this a 6 out of 10. And it is a good jumping in point. Yes, this is an awesome jumping in point if you're looking to jump into an X-Men book. But I can't highly suggest this book. It was okay. Again, it just read childish. It really wasn't the book that I was hoping to be. But yeah, Cable, what do you think? All right, guys, we are as low as I can go unless I lay flat on my back. Let's talk about New Mutants #9. This is written by Ed Brisson and art by Flaviano. So, okay, let's talk about the art, because that's what I always start with, and it was okay. It wasn't good. It wasn't great. It was just okay. And that's all I can say about this book in whole. This cover was the coolest part about this book, which is really sad to say. In this issue, we see both the space team and the Earth team of New Mutants at home, at their base on Krakoa together. But we don't see everyone. We don't get the whole team or both teams together. We just get a certain mix of characters, which is fine. It's fine. I don't need everyone. But then they get a call that this mutant in Russia needs some help. And they go there to help them. And of course, chaos ensues. And it just seems to be this book that's on repeat once Ed Brisson is on it. And that is boring. That's not what I want out of a New Mutants book. They need to get some kind of cohesive story going on in this book. Bouncing between Jonathan Hickman and Ed Brisson is making this book terrible. And I really do not like what they're doing with this book. I was really hoping to love New Mutants, and this is just not a great book. I give this a 5.5 out of 10, and this is not a good jumping in point because, or I guess you could say it's an okay jumping in point because both the Space Team and Earth Team are back, so I guess you could kind of jump into this, but I do not recommend it because, yeah, I did not like it. It's not awful. This is not like a 2 or a 1. It's a 5.5, but guys, this book needs to get better. This is my last issue that I'm going to pick up unless it's Jonathan Hickman. If Ed Brisson's on the issue next time, I'm not picking it up. If Jonathan Hickman, I'll give it one more issue. But yeah, guys, New Mutants, #9, it's a dud. All right, guys, guess what? Frank's going to join me for this review. That's right, Frank, my English Bulldog, who is the best dog in the world. And we're going to talk about Avengers number 32. This is written by Jason Aaron and art by McGuiness and Francesco Manna. And guys, this was a really good book. I really liked it. So yeah, first off, the art. I always talk about the art first. And it was good. I like McGuiness, and Francesco Manna is a really good artist. But I will say bouncing between the two artists was a little distracting because when you're jumping from artist to artist, I was catching myself thinking more about, wait, is this Ed McGuiness or is this Francesco Manna? And I shouldn't be doing that. I should be focusing only on the story and what's going on or how beautiful the art is and how awesome the characters look. And yeah, so it was a little distracting. But the story itself was really cool. I loved seeing all these plot lines that Jason Aaron has been pulling together since the start of his run on Avengers, all starting to come together, and that was really awesome. The ending with Namor was a little silly, I will say that. I'm not going to say what happened because that'd be a spoiler, and I don't want to spoil this book for you because, again, this was one of the better books of the week. Side note, I love Blade. I love Blade in this book, and I love his new pet, Boy Thing, which they really should rename that character. But Boy Thing are really cool, and I give this a 7.5 out of 10. Is this a good jumping in point? No, because this is issue 32, and you really kind of need to have read most of the issues leading up to this to really understand fully what's going on in this book. But guys, this was a really good book. Highly suggest pick this up. Avengers is starting to get great again, and I'm really excited to see what's coming down the pipe from Jason Aaron on this book. Alright guys, we are still down here with Frank. Frank asked me to do one more book because he really enjoyed being on camera. Guys, look how excited he is. So let's do it. Let's talk about Ghost Rider number 6. This is written by Ed Brisson and art by Juan Frigeri. Hopefully I pronounced that right. First up, the art by Juan was okay. I didn't love it, but I definitely missed Aaron Kuder. Aaron Kuder's art is just awesome. I really enjoyed it. Him on this book, but this was decent. It was okay. Again, I didn't hate it, but I definitely did miss Aaron. Someone, before we jump into the main part that I liked about this book, someone please explain to me why Wolverine and Punisher are in this book. To me, they have no place in this book. They are kind of distracting to me. Other than just being star power, I really don't see a reason for them to be in this book. But if someone can explain to me, please let me know down in the comments below, because I would love to know. But next up, the confrontation that we see on the front here between Strange and Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, was awesome. It definitely lived up to the hype. It definitely lived up to what I was hoping it was going to be. So it was great. Mephisto was really great in this book. I don't love him as a character, but he was pretty good in this book. And overall, I give this a 7 out of 10. It was a super solid book, especially for this week. Is this a good jumping in point? No, this is issue 6, and this is a continuing storyline. So it is not a good jumping in point, but this book is so good, guys. Week after week, this continues to be a home run. And yeah, it's a great book. Highly suggest pick this book up. Again, I love it. Thank you. Frank, stop your snoring. Alright guys, we have moved up to the bed where the magic happens. Whoa. But this next book, the magic did not happen. It's another dud for me. Guys, let me know if you thought the same things down in the comments below after I review it. But Venom number 24. I was really excited for this book because I really want this book to be great. But this is written by Donny Cates and art by Mark Bagley. And first up, let's talk about the art. The art stunk. I am not a Mark Bagley fan. And Mark, I am not saying you're a bad artist. Your style is not for me. And ever since you joined the book after Ryan Stegman, I feel like my opinion on this book is going down and down week after week. Next up, the story. Why does this feel to me like this has become like a back burner book for Donny Cates? And the next book that I'm going to review is another Donny Cates book, and that book is stellar. The writing in that book is fantastic. And this just feels like an afterthought. And that's the best way I can describe this book. It just feels like it's kind of like on autopilot, and he's just waiting for the null to come to Earth where he's really going to kick it in. I don't know. There are some cool moments in this book. There's the story of Dylan, and which is Eddie Brock's son, is really heating up. That's really cool. The very last page in this book was awesome and epic, but to get there, I don't know. It was a tough ride. This was a tough read for me. I was just so excited. It was just kind of boring. So I give this book a 6 out of 10. Is this a good jumping in point? No, because this is issue 24. And there's a lot that's happened leading up to this where you'd probably be confused if you're just jumping in at this point. So it's a tough recommend. If you're like me, you're going to continue on this book until the big moment where Null comes to Earth. But if you're not into that, I would definitely drop it at this point. Venom Island has become a dud. Alright guys, let's get real for a second and let's make some magic. And let's talk about Thor number 4. This is written by Donny Cates and art by Nic Klein. And this book was fantastic. It was so good. It makes Venom 24 look like a 2 or a 1. This book just had so many great moments in it. This is what Donny Cates is doing so well. And this is why Venom 24 felt like a back burner book or an afterthought of Donny Cates. Because this was so good. First off, let's talk about the art. Nic Klein's art is absolutely gorgeous. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's so good. What was so good about this book was there were so many parts. There were so many emotional moments throughout this book which had you worried for things, which had you wanting to know more, which hinted at things that come down the line. That just, it kept you engaged. It kept you wanting more. The moment with Lady Sif and Thor, her confronting Thor and like making him realize what he's doing is more than just action right now. There's things behind it that are leading up to making him do the things that he's doing. So good. The whole first page with Yggdrasil, the world tree, and it dying, and the reason why it's dying. Again, so good. Thor taking Galactus around to the final 4 planets, and each moment there, so good. Everything about this book was fantastic. The dialogue, the story, the plot, the little hints along the way. Guys, this book is awesome. Some of Donny Cates' best work, in my opinion. And Thor is just such an amazing character. I love this book. I give this book a 9 out of 10. Yes, guys, a 9 out of 10. It is that good. The art is good. The story is good. It's an awesome book. And the overall story is just awesome. I can't say enough about this book. Is this a good jumping in point? No, this is issue 4. If you can somehow find issues 1, 2, and 3, definitely do that. Do yourself the favor because it is that good. And that wraps it up for my Marvel books. And yeah, let's find a new part of this room and talk about some DC books. We are over by my windows. Technically still on my bed because I'm leaning on it, but we are still off the ground because these DC books were really good. And first book up, we have The Batman's Grave, number 6. This is written by Warren Ellis and art by Bryan Hitch. And guys, this book has been good from the get-go. I really enjoy this book, and Bryan Hitch's art is one of the main reasons why I enjoy this book so much. And having him on every single issue is definitely a highlight of this book. It is just, I mean, he is just a great artist. The way he draws Batman and the way he has a consistent style for his characters is just awesome. I love his art, and I love him on this book. And the story, like I said, is a very action-packed story. The whole 2/3 of this book is Batman and Jim Gordon finding their way out of Arkham, which is like, I want to use the word infected, but the main villain has totally filled Arkham with his goons, and Batman and Gordon are trapped in there, and they're fighting their way through his goons, and it is awesome. The dialogue between Batman and Gordon as they fight their way out is just awesome. And the end of this story, we get a lot of mystery build up for this story. And again, this is a great mystery, and there's more intrigue that happens. It is just an awesome book. I give this book an 8 out of 10. Yes, it is that good. It continues week after week to be just a great Batman book and a great pickup for any of you fans that are like, hey, I don't want to get into the main Batman story because it's too much. There's too much going on. There's too much history. This is not too much history. Yes, it is issue 6. You would have to read the previous 5 issues to enjoy this book to its max. But it is a great book, and I highly suggest you guys pick this up. And that means it is not a good jumping in point. But again, go pick up all 6 issues. It is that good, I promise. Alright guys, before we jump back to the chair to do my indie books, I want to finish up my last DC book right where we are. I'm comfy. Let's do it. Alright, my last book up is Young Justice number 14. This is written by Bryan Michael Bendis and art by David F. Walker and art by John Timms and Michael Avon Oeming. I made a mistake in my suggested pickups when I thought this book was only going to be drawn by John Timms, but we have Michael Oeming on this book, and that was a big disappointment. Michael Oeming's art is definitely targeted towards a much younger audience, or that's what I think at least. And that was kind of a letdown for me, because I really like a lot of these characters in this book, and I guess with this being a Wonder comic, it's kind of like written towards a younger audience, but come on, there's some really big characters in this book where, you know, readers have really enjoyed for a long time, and Connor Kent is one of them. I love him. Tim Drake, amazing. Wonder Girl, kind of. Cassie's pretty cool. But yeah, so that was a big letdown. This was a super fast-paced story. They went through a lot in this issue, and that's to a fault. They went so fast. They didn't spend any time on any moment to really let it sink in, to really let you enjoy that moment. It was just like bang, 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 bang. I mean, they had to get through a lot. They had to pick up Arrowlet. Sissy, I think her name is. We got Sideways, Aqualad, spoiler. So Impulse went around and collected these 4 characters, and then there was the whole other team, which is now a team of like 9 kids. And yeah, it just moved so fast. It was just, again, didn't get to enjoy anything. You want a moment to let the emotion sink in. Let what's going on have an impact. There was no impact here. They just moved so fast. There was a really good hook at the end, which is probably going to make me pick up the next issue. And after that, I will probably drop this book. This book was a 5.5 out of 10 for me. Is this a good jumping in point? No, because this is issue 14 out of 14. And yeah, there's a lot that's happened to get to this point that you would be completely lost if you didn't read those issues. So, not a great book. Kind of a letdown on the chopping block after the next issue. Let's jump into my indie books. All right, guys, we are back in the chair, and let's finish up this video with my final 2 books. These are my indie books for the week, and the first book up is The Man Who Effed Up Time, number 2. This is written by John Layman and art by Carl Mostrat. And first up, Carl Mostrat's art is fantastic. He has a very specific look to his art style. It's a very thin pencil line style, but it fits this book completely. I love his crazy time, butterfly affected scenes. It is just, I don't know, his art is definitely, makes this book shine. Makes it sing. La 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 la. The story was really good. It definitely falls on a lot of time travel tropes. The butterfly effect and, what you try to fix things and more things break. It's just, we'll try a time travel story, but it has its own little twists and turns, and it's really, really solid, especially if you like that time travel stuff, and I do, so I really enjoy it. And overall, it was just a fun, quick read, and that's exactly what I want from this book, so I really, really enjoyed it. I give this a 7.5 out of 10. It was that good, and this is a good jumping in point with being issue 2. Not the greatest. You really should read issue 1 before this book, but you wouldn't be completely lost if you picked up this book. You'd be a little confused, but it wouldn't be the worst. Alright, guys. My final book is an indie book, and it's written by Jonathan Hickman. And guys, I like Jonathan Hickman. I might love Jonathan Hickman. I really enjoy his writing style because it's big world-building stuff. Think Powers of X and House of X. Everything that he built with that. There were such big things with that. His Avengers run from 2012 or something. Again, really big stuff. And I really, really enjoy that, where he puts so much thought and effort to the overall world and timeline and everything. And so when I saw that he was doing a book at Image Comics, I got really excited because I knew it was going to be like something really big and crazy. And then I read the description of the book and I was like, whoa, I'm in. And then I saw the cover and I'm like, I want 2 copies, 3 copies, because this just looks so awesome. And that book is Decorum number 1. This is written by Jonathan Hickman and art by Mike Huddleston. And again, if you are looking for a very straightforward, a very small world, like straight to the point story, this is not for you. This is for someone who is looking for someone that is big, which is grand, which is going to take some thought and some thinking, and probably having to go back and reread it again, because I know I'm going to have to, because trying to think about what I'm going to say about this book right now, I'm like, ugh, I'm definitely going to have to reread this book. But as in all Jonathan Hickman stuff, there is a lot of reading to do. And this definitely had the same kind of look and kind of feel as the House of X and Power of X. And I haven't gone back and looked at his Avengers stuff, which I'm sure has the same kind of feel as this. The same single white page with a lot of text. Those are the big world building moments that you gotta read. If you skip those moments, you're definitely gonna be lost. Mike Huddleston's art is fantastic. He used different styles from panel to panel. Some would be full color, some would be black and white, some would be more of like a sketch than anything. It was so cool. And this was definitely huge worldly, huge sci-fi, way in the future. People are being, they're trying to populate the galaxy, and people are given this disease, are on purpose by companies to then be cryogenically frozen to be given the cure. It's this whole huge story. It's awesome. And then we meet this assassin, who is the most well-mannered assassin you would ever meet, and she was super badass. And there's this other character who, I'm not going to get too much into it, but again, Jonathan Hickman puts the feels in this. He gets you connected early to all these characters, and you're hooked. And I am hooked on this book. It is so good. I give this book a 8.5 out of 10. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed this book, and this was the last book I read, and I'm happy I saved it to last because it was so good. Was not as good as Thor, because Thor was a 9. Thor was my pick of the week, but this was, again, an awesome read and a great way to end the week. And yeah, that's it, guys. Those are my comics for the week. I did pick up 2 others. I did pick up Bounty Hunters, #1. I only picked this up because I was watching Buyer Pass, and that is on Raw the Rican's channel. And they were all singing the praises of the whole Star Wars thing, and I did enjoy Mandalorian on Disney+, so I'm going to give this a chance. And the same thing, the comic community was gushing over Mercy, and I had not picked it up the previous week, so I went up and hit Midtown Comics, and I got Mercy #1, so I will read those later in the week, and maybe I'll do a quick videos and review those. I don't know. But that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And again, if you guys are not subscribed, please get subscribed. Hit that bell notification and smash that like button. And guys, did you agree with what I said in this video? And anything I said in this video? Let me know down in the comments below. If you disagreed, definitely let me know down in the comments below. And yeah, thank you for taking a tour of my bedroom. Thank you for joining me for this in this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.